Are you tired of feeling overlooked and underestimated? Hi, I'm Tammy North, the Introverted Executives Coach. If you're an introverted executive or you're ready to rise to senior leadership, but you're struggling to be seen as a high potential, this podcast is for you. Have you ever felt a touch of guilt creeping in? Just that tiny voice that whispers in your ear that you might be getting too successful, that you're selfish for wanting a bigger life, that you would be a better mom if you didn't work, or if you had a simpler career with less responsibility. Do you ever feel like others are judging you for your success or for your desire to be successful, for your desire to be even more successful than you've been to this point? Neighbors, old friends, even coworkers in the division you were promoted out of last month, the place you used to work before you got the position you're in today, family members who haven't yet made the decision to grow in their own careers or to step into their highest potential selves? Depending on how much of this you hear or how much of this you perceive is occurring, your own thoughts about this might cause you to hold yourself back in some ways or to at least play small. At least smaller than you would have if you perceived that the entire world was cheering you on. You might think that it's your job to not appear too driven, too capable, because you don't want to make other people feel bad in any way at all. You might believe that you should diminish your superpowers or shrink in order to make other people feel better. First of all, you probably know what I'm going to say. You can't control what other people feel or think or the actions that they do or do not take. And also, you actually don't know what they really are thinking. And very often, your perception of what you think they are thinking and feeling will not be correct at all. That's only one reason not to adjust your path to make other people happier. No matter what you do, only they can create happiness in their own life. And the sooner you fully embrace this reality, the sooner you will be able to realize how free you are to truly drive the changes in your own life that will allow you to become whatever it is you've decided that you want to become. You can also focus on thoughts that fuel your feelings and actions to create big positive changes that you want in your life. That's what I want to talk to you about today. How you can decide to become an example of what's possible, and when you do that, how you will actually drive ripples of positivity throughout your entire life. In my own life, I have my own mom to thank for showing me what's possible regarding career success. She raised my sister and I as a single mom from when we were both in grade school and from the time she could get her first job and thus bring in money for our modest living expenses. She went from doing the books in a hardware store in our very small town through a series of increasingly more challenging and higher paying roles until she was working at the executive level as the finance director for the entire Colorado Department of Education. Watching her figure it out, take risks, and believe that she was capable 100% did show me what was possible in life and that I had the potential to achieve similar career success. To this day, she always tells me that she has even bigger dreams for me than she had for herself. And also throughout my own career, I've found role models and mentors, some are women and some are men, who achieve certain things in their life or in the industry that we work in, and they've shown me what is possible within our own industry. And as far as my executive coaching and life coaching business, I have two incredible mentors and role models who've shown me what's possible in the coaching industry and how I can help other people so that they know what's possible for them. This is how it works. Have you ever heard the phrase, which is usually linked to some conversation about equality, that if you can see it, you can be it? This can be applied in so many ways, but if there is even one person who's accomplished something that you want to accomplish, then you know for a fact that it is possible. And also, if that dream is possible and it can be achieved, then what else could be possible for you? Just imagine. Once you start thinking about all that's possible for your life, and before you let the ideas that you're selfish for wanting more or what others might think about you seep into your head, I want you to begin to imagine you living that future dream. Imagine that you have already made it real and that it's your current day-to-day life. Okay, are you there in that future place right now? Now start to imagine the positive ripples that if you were literally living that life that would flow from you as you walk throughout your day in that new life. What would become possible for everybody else around you because your dream came true? So one example was when I was an enlisted sailor and I started thinking about getting a commission to be a naval officer. I knew about the benefits for me. More responsibility, a better salary, more opportunities for better education, the ability to make a bigger impact. And after I was commissioned, I realized there were so many other benefits I had never imagined before. Still, beyond my own direct benefits, I started to realize that there would be so many benefits for my daughter. Naval officers generally just assume that their own children are going to college. Eventually, most of your friends at some point become naval officers. So if I'm working as a naval officer, then most of the people around me in my day-to-day life and then my friends are naval officers or other educated people. Eventually, our children all get to know each other. And I remember after I was commissioned for a few years and my daughter was probably in 5th grade, we had some of her friends over for a birthday slumber party. And in the morning, I made breakfast and the other girls whose parents were also naval officers were all sitting around eating their pancakes and talking about college. Yeah, they were in 5th grade and they were already talking about the colleges they planned to attend. They knew for a fact they were going to college. It was expected. It was essentially being taken for granted that these 5th graders were going to college someday. And I mean that in a good way. And the fact that all of the parents in this group of friends had made a direct decision to become naval officers created an environment where our children just thought that education was normal. It was just like air that you breathe. It was just the way it was. This exact scenario is basically what I want to talk to you about today. It's one thing to let your fear of change or what other people might think slow your progress or hold you back. But I want you to imagine how your playing small will not only change the trajectory of your life, but how it also could change the trajectory of your children's life as well. Granted, your own success will not automatically create successful children, but when you decide to believe in yourself and to increase your own confidence and to actively build a life of which you are proud, that exact modeling will influence your children, no doubt. And more often than not, when you step into your full potential, you will give them the permission to step into their full potential, and then they will emulate that new potential for their children, and so on. Your single decision to take some bolder steps in your life, to believe bigger, to delay gratification, and to build a robust life will show not only your kids what's possible, but when your kids are bolder and believe more because of your example, they will also influence the next generation and so on. So conversely, if you live in self-doubt and fear and you resist change and you remain smaller than you wanted to be, you also teach your children those same traits. And that energy, the energy of fear and cautiousness and small thinking, will also ripple through the next generations. Okay, so what about besides our children and the positive ripples we will create there? Are there other positive ripples? Oh, you bet there are. So let's think about where you are today and where you want to go. I mentioned my mentors and my role models before. Just by succeeding and growing, you are showing other people around you in your day-to-day life, not that you're better than them, but rather you are showing them what is possible. And even though you are quieter, maybe introverted, but yet you're always studious, hardworking, you know other people around you at church, school, work, in your neighborhood, in your coaching mastermind, whatever, in your friend group, you show each of them what is possible when you try. You show them what happens when you believe bigger. Eventually, they will see what you have created in your own life, and they might tell you about a dream that they wish they could achieve. You'll encourage them because you know truly if they decide they want this and they take steps toward it, that they definitely can make it real, just the way you made your own dream a reality. Can you imagine that world? The one where people believe they can make a difference and where everybody encourages everyone to step into their highest potential self? We'd enter into a new era in this world. It would transform so many things if we all walked into our days with that energy. You know, I always say there is enough success for everyone. This is an abundant way to live your life, and the positive ripples you create will emanate outward and reflect back to you in ways that you can never imagine. So have you noticed anything that we've been talking about in this episode coming up for you lately? As you've been striving after bigger goals, a bigger impact, a bigger life, have you noticed thoughts of guilt, Like they're going to think I'm selfish or greedy or superficial or, fill in the blank, whatever you've been thinking. And then ask yourself, have you ever not taken that next step forward because you're afraid that other people will judge you? Have you ever not applied for a position you wanted or not volunteered for a project? Or have you ever not asked to attend executive leadership training? Have you ever decided not to ask for mentorship from that more senior person that you admire? These are all signs that you are inadvertently holding yourself back. And as I talked about earlier in this episode, you might be doing this, and also you're likely wrong about what all these other people in your mind are really thinking. So one of the beautiful things I get to do and one of the positive ripples I get to make is to guide you to lean fully into what you are capable of. I promise that you are capable of far more than you have even scratched the surface of so far. It blows my mind to think about everything you're capable of. If you feel like this, if this is you, if you've been worrying about what other people will think, if you've been shrinking so that other people will not have thoughts about you, this week, I want you to take the following steps. 1, clearly identify something that you want to improve in your career, your life, whatever, and write it down. Literally write it down. Make it something that scares you, something that you do want that makes you feel uncomfortable when you think about doing it. If you're going to make it real, there's discomfort that will come. Okay, then 2, under that, divide the rest of your paper into 2 columns, and under one column, label it, what people will think about me if I accomplish this, or even try to. Label the other column, all the ways I could create positive ripples in the world if I actually do accomplish this goal. Okay, so now you got your 2 sides. And just write all the thoughts on both sides of the paper that come to mind, what other people are thinking about you in your mind, and how you would be able to change the world for others beyond you in a positive way if you do make this dream your reality. Okay, then the 3rd step is to choose 1 or 2 of the thoughts on the positive ripple side and keep those at the front of your mind. Write them on a sticky or put them on today's page in your planner, whatever. Place it in your workspace where you spend most of your workday and keep it front of mind. And then 4, regarding the thoughts on the what people are thinking side, spend some energy and decide if the things you wrote are cold hard facts. Did anybody actually say those words to you? I mean, the literal words you wrote down, word for word. Do you have a text with those words or an email with the words? Would 100% of the people in the world read that text or that email and think, yes, that's exactly what it means? Or are there other possible meanings that you could, ascribe to the words? If they're not 100% factual, the odds are you're giving words that other people say deeper meaning than they were delivered with. Or you are actually putting words into their mouths or their heads that they never said or even thought, which is the most likely. So from now on, you need to be clearly aware of these ideas that you have about other people's thoughts. This part of the exercise is 100% only for your self-awareness. So start to notice when you're thinking, well, other people might think this or think that, and then decide you are no longer going to let your brain stay on these thoughts. High achievers are people who take charge of their own brain and don't let it run around like a Tasmanian devil creating havoc. You have dreams and plans, and no simple thought is going to get in the way. The first step is awareness, and then you can learn to interrupt those thoughts when you're having them, and then move toward thoughts like the ones you have written under your positive ripple side. These are the changes you want to make in the world, and you will. The more often you do that, the more actions you'll take toward the bigger dream, and soon enough you'll be amazed at the beautiful network of positive impacts that you have actually created in the world. You are meant to do big things in this world, and the positive impact will not end with only your life. When you decide to show others what's possible for you, you will change the lives of all future generations of your family. You will show your children what is possible, and you will become a role model for others who want to believe in themselves as well. With each step forward, your impact will grow exponentially in ways that you never even imagined. This dream is far too important to shrink, to play small. You were born for this, and you can feel it deep down in your soul, and it's time to take that next step forward today. You can connect with me at Introverted Executive on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you're ready for executive coaching to help you achieve your biggest career goals, subscribe to my weekly Rise and Shine newsletter. There, you'll find out when my program opens for new clients, and you'll also receive weekly tips and activities to continue to make a bigger impact in your own powerful way. You'll find all the information and links down in the show notes. See you next week.